this year we're focusing on industrialization in the context of the fourth industrial revolution. We're really looking to see how policy can be used to create an environment that is enabling for industrialization. What governments can do to make it such that private sector money is crowded in and is able to be unleashed in driving industrialization across the continent.
When you look at all the key players in there, from governments to the capital markets, to private sector pulling funds together, what to you is the biggest challenge?
Well, there are several challenges. I think that the biggest challenge from my perspective is really, getting the financing that entrepreneurs need to drive industrialization, especially the smaller tickets. So it's a lot harder to raise $500,000 than to raise $50 million because the investable funds have their investment criteria and rules around how they invest. And so the smaller tickets don't meet their tests. And so we must find ways to support young entrepreneurs as they start their business and as they try to grow their business up to the point where they can then command those higher tickets in terms of fundraising. And as you know, there was a session yesterday on entrepreneurship. And one of the things I was trying to ascertain from the young entrepreneurs is how can African capital markets become more relevant to them? How can we help them in raising that early stage financing, that smaller tickets, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000. And obviously, we're public markets, right? So we have to structure these things in such a way that they're able to fit into our platforms with all the governance and investor protection that is around it.
Okay, when I look at the AFDB strategy, a key part of that is growing liquid capital markets, to help drive this industrialization. I would like to know, since you wear two very important hats, first on the Nigerian Stock Exchange level and also in the African Stock Exchange, I would like you to speak to, how possible partnerships that could happen between all these organizations that you are affiliated with and the African Development Bank.
So, as you know, I'm the president of the African Securities Exchanges Association, which is the association of all the recognized exchanges in Africa. We're about 28 exchanges, servicing 32 countries, but the association is a Pan-African association. And we signed an MOU with the Africa Development Bank about a little over 2 years ago to jointly develop certain things. Integration, as you know, one of the high fives of the Africa Development Bank is integration. So integration, working to help small businesses, working to deepen the capital markets, and other areas of cooperation like capacity building and the rest of it. So we already have an MOU in place. We're working very closely with the bank to develop the integration effort. We're doing this in a pilot program that would link up Johannesburg, Lagos, Abidjan, Casablanca, Mauritius.
Basically the key stock exchanges.
Yes, and Nairobi. Okay. So by linking together and facilitating trade such that somebody in Casablanca can buy shares of Dangote Cement in Lagos, and somebody in Lagos can buy shares of Safaricom in Nairobi, can become possible and in a seamless way. So that effort is ongoing right now. Another thing that we've worked very well with the bank on is the area of small businesses, how we can work better to support small businesses. And I'm aware that the bank has actually aided some of the member exchanges to create networks that would allow them to engage small businesses, groom them, build capacity around governance and things, and prepare them for listing. One of those programs is Elite, the Elite program that has been done in partnership with the London Stock Exchange. Okay. You know, another area we've done joint studies. You know, the bank has issued domestic bonds, so domestic currency denominated bonds. One of the test countries was Nigeria. They issued a Naira denominated bond in Nigeria. So we did a study and released that study in partnership with the bank at the most recent African Securities Exchanges Association annual general meeting and conference in Cairo. Okay. So there are a number of areas where we are collaborating and working, you know, actively right now to better the state of the capital markets and position them to help finance the industrialization that we want to see happen for Africa.